So, as I haven't been carving for a while, I've decided to get back into carving, and I want to improve. I want to be better than I've ever been, and I want to get into the master's class because my ultimate goal is to get to a point where I can carve birds, extinct birds or endangered birds, and bring them into the home, bring them to the people so that we remember them and we try to make sure that this doesn't happen anymore. But because it's been a while for me, I've decided to start a new project with a blank and a pattern that I didn't make myself. Well, not exactly. I'm going to show you what I mean in a minute. But I was searching around for a pattern for a chickadee. A chickadee is a bird I have never carved that I like. Not so far. I've gotten better and better, but I've never done one that I really like. So my goal is to try to carve one that I really, really like. So I looked it up and I found that Razortip Industries has blanks and patterns, which I didn't know. They make really good tools. I have some of their tools for carving, and I didn't know they did blanks, so I decided to give them a try. And I got the box a couple of days ago. I let my daughter open it. She undid the tape, so I'll pop it open for you so you can see what's inside. And I'm actually very impressed with what I got. There's the usual Wildflower Carving magazine, a great magazine. It has patterns, it has ideas, it has pictures, it's inspirational. Some of the best carvers ever are in here. So I highly recommend that magazine. There's my invoice. And let's get to the fun part. I sent for two because you never know. So I got this one. They're both chickadees. They should be both the same. They're both done in basswood. They appear to be very good. I like the fact that they didn't overcut it so that you have the option of turning the head. They pre-drilled the eyes. This is very helpful for beginner carvers. They go the eyes are pre-drilled all the way through. If you're going to turn the head though, well, as you can imagine, if you go like that, the eyes have to go like that. So it could be a problem if you're using this to turn heads. But that's not my plan for this project. And I'll talk about that more in a few minutes. But I'm actually very happy with the quality of these blanks. They're very well done. They will serve very nicely for what I hope to do. And they come with some patterns. And you know, I love patterns. I always get ideas from other people's patterns. And the eyes are attached. 4 eyes, I guess they put all the 4 eyes on the same pattern. So look at this one here. The eyes, of course, are very nice. That'll work. That'll work very nicely for eyes. I have eyes, but those are very nice. This is a nice pattern. They've got some pointers and techniques over on the side here. Things to watch out for, things that you didn't know. I'm going to read those. But the pattern itself, it's nicely drawn. And it looks like they've got a version for this. I didn't even notice this. They have a version for summer, which is very, very nice. And they have a version where it's a little puffier, a little fatter for winter. It's the winter one I'm going to concentrate on because I have an idea for, well, it's not winter, it'll be springtime for this type of bird. And I think about these things. What's he doing? And I'm going to do him head on because I'm going to do a singing bird. And singing birds do sing straight on. They are looking straight ahead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open his mouth a bit. See, I want to move up a class, so I need to add some challenge to the bird. So a bird that's straight on like this, head on, great for beginning, but they tend to look a little stuffed. So I've got an example of one I've got done before. This was in my earlier days, and there's a chickadee I did before, and he's not bad, but if you notice, he tends to look a little bit stuffed. Like, there's no character, there's no personality, he's not doing anything, he's just like, oh, a little bit of dust there. He was just mounted. But, you know, I'm learning. There's other little mistakes, like his wings are curved. But, yeah, I don't want him to look stuffed like this one does. I want him to have a little more personality. Now, normally you do things with the head, you turn it around, you make it look, you just notice something, like it's telling a story. I find that they're better when they tell a story, but I think we can maybe do something when he's singing. Now the problem with this particular blank though is I had planned to do singing, but now that I notice they've gone and they've trimmed the beak very tightly. This is a challenge. It's not impossible, but it's a challenge. I can add a beak. And I might just do that because I don't want to do just a run-of-the-mill bird. I'm going to do a better bird. So I think what we'll do is we'll carve it up, we'll knock the beak off, and we'll put our own beak on. So that ought to make things very interesting. So one other thing I checked though is I have a book here. Sorry about shaking the camera. Krausman's Wildlife Reference Photos. And they say the black-capped chickadee, the dimensions of this bird, the length of the body, that's from behind the eye to the tail, is 4.5 inches. Okay, now of course no two birds are the exact same size, but I've got my caliper, so it's getting close enough. This is one of the tools of the trade, by the way. There's art to this. There really is a lot of art, but you have to get the anatomy right. There are certain things you have to do, and you can be creative in some aspects, and in some aspects you've got to get it right. So behind the eye to the tail, roughly, yeah, it's okay if he's a little smaller. That's okay. If he's too big, that won't work. But if he's too small, it will work. Whoops. So this bird will work. He's going to need some adjustments, but this is going to be a fun project. So what I need to do now, though, is I need to take the plan they've given, because I'm not doing this exact plan. Where'd the plan go? I'll use this one. It's not this exact plan. I'm going to work up one of my own, because, you know, taking it up a class, taking it up a notch means this is a good reference. This is really good for length and width and height and size and things, especially this is actually really nice for the summer one. But I need to add something of my own, something that's special. Don't be afraid to borrow a little bit from other people's reference materials. I mean, they've taken the time to measure these and prepare them and know their subject. That's good. Do that. Follow that. The reference is the reference. I mean, it's everybody needs a reference, but add something of your own to make it that little something extra special. So what we'll do is we're going to take this over to the land of Photoshop now, because my hand drawing isn't as good as it could be, and we'll see if we can't make a slightly different plan from this one. So come back in a bit. Thanks.